My name is Doris Mayoli. I am a mother of 2 boys. I have 3 sisters. I'm a cancer victor. It's generally me. I was born in Nairobi, brought up in the city. My parents were both working here. And so my sisters and I grew up here. Normal family, nothing really out of the ordinary. A very close-knit family, which was good. So we grew up getting to know each other and spending a lot of time together. Just a general household. I was diagnosed with cancer, breast cancer, in 2005. I got the actual diagnosis on September 2nd of 2005. It was very unexpected. I never, at any point in my life, ever thought I would get cancer. I didn't know anything about cancer when I was told I had it. And what brought it on is that I'd gone with a friend. I was taking a friend in December of the previous year to get checked because we saw an article in the newspaper about, breast cancer awareness. And so she said, let's go. I'm scared to go. Would you come with me? So I decided, okay, let me take her. So when we went there, we were both checked, and at the time I had just weaned my last born. And so they said, it's hard to tell, if there's anything abnormal, so let the milk dry up and then come back and we'll check. I didn't bother because I didn't think there was anything to check. But then around July of that year, I felt a lump in my breast. Not painful, but large. So I thought it might be hormonal or something like that. I ignored it, but after a while I started thinking, what if it turns out it was something? So I thought I'll go see the doctor, maybe they'll give me a pill I can take that would dissolve it, and then I move on with my life. So when I went to see the doctor, they did, first I went and did a mammogram, and he told me it doesn't look like anything, but because of the size of the lump, it'll probably have to come out. Then they sent me to an oncologist. That's the first time I'd heard that term. So I went and saw the oncologist, and he asked that I go and do an FNA, which is fine needle aspiration. It's a test where they stick a needle into the tumor. Well, that time I didn't know it was a tumor, into the lump, and pull out some tissue which they go and test. So the very same day, later on, a few hours later, they called me and told me I need to go back and see the doctor. They didn't tell me to see the doctor, they just said, come for your results. And when I went there, they sent me to the doctor, and the doctor broke the news to me and told me I have cancer. It was unbelievable. There was a lot of, things were just going through my mind, a lot of confusion, like, I have cancer, what does that mean? What am I supposed to do? What does the treatment entail? All I had as a reference is what I've seen in movies, Somebody goes through a lot of pain and then they die. So those were some of the things that were coming into my mind, like, it'll be a very painful process and then I'm going to end up dying. I was thinking, I don't have time to be sick, I'm busy, I don't, it's a whole confusion. But there was also fear because I didn't know what to expect, what to anticipate. I was in the process of, I had just gone through a separation. So I was also processing that. So this on top of that was just chaotic. So it was a bit of a difficult time in my life. The thought of, I don't know what's going to happen to my children. They were pretty young at the time, 3 and 4 years old. And just wondering who will take care of them, because if I'm going to be sick and then I'm going to die, then what's going to happen to them? I thought about my family and thinking, I'm bringing a burden into the home. Now they have to take care of me. It's something that wasn't there. How are we going to live? I knew, or I had an inkling by that time that treatment for cancer is very expensive. Where am I going to get the money? Questions like that. So it was a very uncertain time. thankfully, when I got the diagnosis and I informed my boss, they were very considerate, and they said that, okay, you go ahead with the treatment, we'll support you as much as we can. And so we had a system there where, they would pay part of my bills for me. They would allow me, when I was too weak to go to the office, they'd allow me some time off. But I tried as much as possible to be present, to continue with my life as normal as I can. Then I had to move in with one of my sisters and her family, because I just needed support, somebody to be there for my children, because I presumed that I'd be spending a lot of time with the doctors, maybe even in hospital, and I needed them to be with somebody that I could trust. And so we agreed with one of my sisters, who also had young kids at the time, that they would move in. We would move in with them, which was a godsend, because I spent a lot of time in hospital or too sick in bed to do anything, and so they took care of the children. It was a dramatic, horrifying time going through that. My employers paid some percentage of my hospital bills, and then the balance was raised by friends and family. I was involved in music, and there's a choir that I used to sing with, and they chose to do a concert and raise money for me. And then I have another sister who doesn't live in Kenya, and she brought her friends together and told them about what I was going through, and they chose to do a dinner where they raised money. And that's how it worked. I drew my strength, during that time, I drew my strength from God. I am a believer, and He was my strength. He was my strength. But then I also have a very close family, and they just came around me during that time, and they were there for me, whatever I needed. They were, even going with me to the hospital when I needed it, or just being with the children, because that for me was like a big worry. But then knowing that there was somebody who was taking care of them really helped me. And then a lot of friends, some of them even people I didn't anticipate, people I didn't think were that close, but they came, and they were there for me as well. Sometimes they'd bring food home. They'd come and visit, they'd call, they'd send me encouraging books, So there was a lot of support around me. I remember going to the hospital that morning, and I had been told they need to do, because when you're diagnosed, the correct thing to do is to test you entirely, like your whole system, just so that they can check if the cancer spread to any other organ apart from where it has first been discovered. So when you finish your treatment, they do the same tests again, just to confirm that they've got everything. And I remember doing the tests, and then I had to come back for them later, and then receiving them, and the doctor just saying, "You're cancer-free." It's a moment that is hard to describe, because all this time you've been living feeling that you're going to die, or this has become a routine, going to see the doctor, going for medication, being too sick to move, really you're in pain and all those things, and then one day you're told it's all over, in a sense. So but I was really excited. But the biggest thing I felt was that I'd been given a second chance at life. It's like I was almost starting a new chapter in my life. So my first thing was like, okay, I don't know now what to do with this new gift I'd been given. So I actually took time away from, just backtracked from everything, and I took some time to just process all that and start thinking, okay, what does this mean? Now that I'm starting afresh again in a sense. What do I need to do? What should my life be about? As I took time to process and try and think about what to do with my new life, one of the things I kept thinking through, how could it have been different? How was the journey? How could the journey have been different? And thinking about things like, I didn't get much information when I was going through treatment. There didn't seem to be information out there on what cancer means and how it affects individuals. In fact, the only material I found was either online or in book form. It was very medical stuff, which didn't really speak to me, because I wanted to know from an individual, what does it mean to have cancer? What are you supposed to, or what did you do, from your experience? And I couldn't find anything except like reading blogs online, and all of them from the West. And then also the fact that at that point, I didn't know anybody who had gone through cancer and survived. And I started thinking, there may be people out there who are in the same position I was in. They don't know that you can survive cancer. They don't have any information. They don't know who to go to. They don't know what to expect. And I thought, I'd like to be able to help them. I'd like to be able to answer those questions for them. I'd like them to be able to look at me and say, oh, you mean she's alive? That means even I can live through this. A way of encouraging people to, be strong. And so I thought the first thing to do was, when I was going through treatment, something that really encouraged me was songs. As I said, I was involved in a choir, and so songs would come to mind, songs that would be encouraging. And I thought maybe if I do something like a listening party where I can invite people who are going through difficult times and they can hear these songs, maybe they would also be encouraged and uplifted in whatever situation they're going through, whether it's like a marriage breakdown or because they weren't well. And so I started sharing this with my family, with my friends, and thinking that maybe my sisters and I will sing, and then maybe we'll have 20 people or so coming to listen. But as I shared it with people, they wanted to be a part of it in terms of they wanted to sing. And so I ended up with about 100 people who wanted to be in the choir. And so the whole plan had to change. I spoke with the church I was going to, and I spoke to 2 other churches, and they said, yeah, you can come and have a concert here. And so we did this during their morning service. Then I was also thinking, what else can I do besides just, through the songs? And somebody, I was thinking maybe there might be somebody in Kenya who's doing something about cancer. And I met 2 ladies who would go to the rural areas and just share, like awareness really with people. And they told me of 2 patients, a man and a woman, both of them with breast cancer. They were like, since you're doing this thing, maybe you could ask the congregation to donate some money and we'll try and help them because they're broke. They've gone to their friends and family, everybody's broke, like if there's any way we can help. And so as we sang, we also shared their story. We actually had the 2 of them come up and they shared a little bit of what they're going through, and people gave. And so we were able to pay for their treatment. And then after that, people still came back and said, we saw what you did, we want to continue helping. Is there some way we can do this? And I didn't want them to be giving the money to me, because I don't want to have issues with accountability. And so I went to see a bank and they said, okay, yeah, we can open an account in our business name, but you need a board. So I got a few people around me to start a board, and we registered the organization, and that is how TOA was born. So since then, that's what we do. We support people who are going through cancer as much as we can. Organizing or getting the concert done is a huge project. It starts off with getting a choir together, and they're not from any one particular place. I send out word, usually first to the people who have sung in the choir over the years, and tell them, okay, we're recruiting for the next concert. If you're interested, sign up. So they sign up, and then we start meeting every Saturday. We usually meet for about 3 months. So we meet every Saturday for 3 hours, learn the songs, and then in the meantime, there's the other production side. So I've got a band together. I need to send them the songs for them to learn, get a venue where we can have the concert and everything that goes into event planning. And then at the end of the 3 months, put everything together and we have the concert. This year's concert is going to be at Nairobi Chapel on Ngong Road. I'm so glad the road is now open. And we'll have it, the first show is on Friday, the 25th of October at 6:30 p.m. Second show is on Saturday at 3 p.m. And the third show, the final show, will be on Sunday at 3 p.m. as well. My goal was to share information with people who are going through cancer, and also to raise awareness that you can live through cancer, and then to be able to support those we can. And we do this, throughout the year. We do this. We raise the money through the concert, and then in the course of the year until the next concert, we use whatever we got to help people. The reason I keep sharing my story is that I don't think you can ever really do enough. And everybody has said cancer has become like an epidemic, and it's so rampant in Kenya. There are now names, call it that have cancer. There are people, there's too many people who are going through this. And I feel that the more we are speaking about it, raising awareness, giving hope, maybe we can make some little difference, or hopefully a big difference. People would know that you need to get tested early. They'd know what signs to look for. But then they'd also know that even if it's caught, it's found that you have cancer, you can get treatment and get over it. Like, you can recover from cancer. And then also even for the people who are supporting people who go through cancer, I think it's also important for them to be able to support them through this, because they also go through a hard time. There's a much focus on them because most of the focus is on the patient, but they also need support. So just to raise awareness, to give hope, and to encourage. I'm determined to live this second phase of my life on purpose. The difference between the first phase and this phase is that the first one, I was just going through life motions, with no particular, it's not like I was aimlessly moving through life, but I didn't have any specific motivations, and especially now going through the hard time that I did, you're like, I don't know. But this one, I'm like, I need to be very deliberate in how I live, be deliberate in the things that I do and the things I don't do. That my life needs to matter for something, especially having gone through such a difficult thing. It needs to matter. At the end of it, I don't want to be asking, so what was that all about? I want to look through and say, this is what I gained, this is what I learned, and share that with other people. That makes it worth the pain that I went through. During treatment, I would wake up every day and take that day with whatever it brought. If I was too weak to move around, I would stay in bed. If I was strong enough to sit with my family in the living room, I would go sit with them. If I was strong enough to drive myself to the office, I would do that. So for me, it was a day by day. I'd wake up and see, okay, how am I feeling, or what do I need to do? And I would do it. So again, it was just that thing of living on purpose on a day-to-day basis, not necessarily looking at the end of this week, this is what I would do. I just say today, right now, what needs to be done, or how am I feeling? And then I would do that. I've received 2 awards, one from the Jordan Foundation and another from Jacob's Well. And they were given to me because of the work that I do. But I'll tell you, my awards are when somebody goes through this and then comes back and says thank you, or they go through this and we support them, and then they call me later and tell me they're supporting somebody else. For me, those are the awards that really, really mean something. But of course, I appreciate when somebody comes and says, you know, thank you for the work that you're doing. We've managed to help so far over 800 patients. And this is in different ways. Some we've been able to pay some of their hospital bills. Others we've been able to counsel them or walk with them through their journey. Others we've been able to provide prosthesis, like those who had a mastectomy, which is where they cut off your breast. We've had some breast forms that we've been able to donate to them. We've donated wigs, we've donated food, we've donated clothing. There's also some instances where somebody came from out of town, needed to get their treatment in the city, and it was difficult for them to keep going back and forth. And so for a short time, we subsisted their income, you know, to be able to pay their rent. So whatever we're able to do, we do. For somebody who is going through the same thing I did, I think that would be my advice, that they just take each day at a time. I feel like if you look too far in the future, it's a bit daunting, because you can't really tell, you know, what will happen next week, what will happen next month. So just take today. Take it in little bits. Take today. Do whatever you can, as much as you can. Try and stay upbeat. Surround yourself with people who make you happy, people who encourage you, and then just live. What do you need to do today? Today you need to take medicine, go take it. Today you need to go for chemo. Don't think about, I'll feel like this a week later. Just see that. Go take your chemo, go back home. Whatever you need to do every day, but just keep remembering that there's life after cancer. I'm hoping that we can continue helping other people who are going through cancer.